Hello, this is Angelica Millerman recording a submission for class Special Education, I think Foundations, SPED 501. So I'll just start by going down the line of the questions. Number 1 says, what is the special education teacher's role in supporting learning, improving planning and practice, upholding professional expectations and ethics, and collaboratively advancing the profession? So I said a special education teacher supports learning by encouraging the students to do so, and that is done through encouragement of questions and encouraging the curiosity in the students. So keeping a really open environment where students feel like they can ask questions, they can come to you with questions, go in front of the class with questions, because I know the peer part can be intimidating, so just creating an environment where everybody feels comfortable. And the teacher's goal in improving the profession is keeping up with the professional development and giving input based on your own experience. So when you're doing professional development, not only listening to others' experiences, but also sharing your own so you can all collaborate together. And then the teacher's role in planning is to ensure there's an effective plan in place for class. I know this based on experience when I was a sub. If there wasn't a plan, chaos ensued, especially in middle school. And even sometimes if there was a plan, the students got done early. It was like, what do we do? And they would all just, chaos. So planning is super important. And then I said all of those things combined make the practice of teaching. And then upholding the professional expectations and ethics is just a no-brainer. Like, you have to have boundaries. You have to grade accurately and not base your grading on favoritism. It's just being ethical. And then using collaboration to advance the profession. Work with other teachers to brainstorm and share experiences, like I said earlier. Okay, next question. What dispositions that you currently possess will help you become a successful teacher? What dispositions do you need to work on before you enter the classroom as a first-year teacher? So when I did the survey, I have almost all of them. There was a couple that I really liked. The one that says educators should promote and support curiosity and encourage active inquiry. I think that's super important. The whole learning process is about inquiring and being curious about things. Sorry, my cat might come into the shot. And then the one that I said I was neutral on was the one that said the teacher will provide emotional and spiritual support. I only was neutral on that because I feel like providing emotional support can get blurry as far as the boundaries go, because you don't want them to, I don't know, I just think the boundary issue can become an issue when it comes to emotions. I think at some point you have to refer them to the appropriate other types of like counselors or social workers or things like that. But so that's why I said neutral on that one. And then the spiritual aspect I questioned just because, like, if you're in a public school, obviously GCU is a Christian school, and I'm a Christian, so I wanted to encourage that. But being culturally responsive would be encouraging other people's culture, so that part of the spirituality I understand. And then I went through the dispositions that was on the teaching dispositions. That was part of our things to read. And high expectations was one that I don't think I need to work on. When I was a sub, I always had high expectations for my students, even the ones that were apathetic. Just still have those high expectations. Respect for the diversity of others. Pretty much all the schools that I've subbed in were inner city schools, so very culturally diverse, and where I work now is very culturally diverse. So respecting that is something that I hold very important. So two that I might need to work on would be fairness and reflection. I think I would need to work on fairness because I already know that I can show favoritism. So being fair with all students, and then the reflection, I get scared to be criticized. So by reflecting, I get scared that I messed up. So I'll just have to overcome that. And then curiosity is one of my top ones. Honesty, of course. Compassion is one of my biggest ones, and advocacy and dedication. So all of those I feel really strongly that I possess. It's just the fairness and reflection. And then, what effect could personal biases have on expectations that teachers have for their students, and how can these biases affect their relationships with students and their families? So I said the personal bias can affect the students because you end up treating some students different than others and not in a good way. And there has to be some kind of customization in special education because you're working with learners who have all kinds of different disabilities. So trying to figure out how they learn will be unique to each student, so you might treat them different in that way. But if you have a bias towards a certain culture or whatever, that could end up affecting you negatively. And it can end up affecting the family. It could change how they feel about education as a whole if they're being treated differently. So, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks.